Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for the 2025-2026 Resident Assistant RA Information video. We're so excited to have you here. We hope that this means that you are at least interested in potentially applying for the RA position, and we hope that this video will tell you a little bit about the role, the application process, and what to expect if offered an interview, as well as the timeline for the position in general. If you do have any questions, we also have some upcoming live streamed and in-person Q&As that we'll be going over as well. Without further ado, my name is Haley Handel. I currently serve as the coordinator for student staff selection and leadership, and I'm joined by an amazing colleague with me today.
Hi, I'm Carly Berthume, and I'm the graduate coordinator for student staff selection.
We're going to go ahead and jump right into it. And again, we're going to be going over the role of the RA, the process to apply for the RA position, as well as the interview process, and finally going over some in-person Q&As.
So just to get us started, we're going to start with going over our mission and vision. We like to do this because no matter what job you apply for, we think it's really important to ensure that your values align with our organizations. We really want to make it a priority to share our mission and values to make sure they align with yours. So when we work together moving forward, it'd be great. So that being said, to start with our mission is to provide residents with safe housing communities that foster student success through innovative living and learning opportunities. And our vision is that the Department of Housing and Residence Life will be the premier experience for residents to live, learn, and become tomorrow's global citizens.
One of the first questions that Carly and I are often asked when those are thinking about applying to be an RA is, who are resident assistants? What do they do? What do you look for? What characteristics do I need to make sure are being shown in the interview process? How can I make sure to fit the criteria you need to be an RA? Well, the answer is pretty simple. We are looking just for you. It's very important to the entire Department of Housing that our staff look and represent our on-campus students. So we're looking for candidates from all different majors, all different hobbies, all different backgrounds, all different locations where they grew up. We're not looking for a very specific criteria of XYZ that equals being an RA. We're looking for you. We're looking for anyone who has a passion to do the job, a passion to help others and residents around them, and make a difference within their community. So we hope that that means that you're officially interested in qualifying to be in the job, and that you'll be interested in continuing to see what else it means to be an RA.
So what does an RA do? An RA's role includes several key responsibilities, but they're all really aimed at providing our residents with the best possible experience. So for example, one primary role is creating and maintaining a community environment. This is often done through sharing resources. We have a residence hall association, so providing our area council with support, mediations, roommate agreements, several initiatives and committees, connection to the community and campus, and really developing, supporting, hosting, and attending community engagement programs. There are also several administrative tasks that you're responsible for. This includes filling out incident reports, submitting work orders, completing occupancy checks, those welcome ready checks, staff meetings, emails, and more. And something that is definitely very prominent is serving in an on-duty rotation. So the way that this works is on some weekdays that you will select, from 4:45 to 8 p.m., you will be serving in your desk at an inmate administrative role. And then from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next day, you will serve on call in your community. So essentially what this means is that you have the phone. So someone calls and has a question, they will reach out to you. You can literally just stay in your own space. It's not like you're like chained to the desk and having to work all night. You can literally just go to sleep. Just make sure you are available to answer that phone when someone needs you. You also have to serve some weekends. So from 4:45 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. the next day, again, you'll be on call during your community. And this does include several university closures. Honestly, I know personally that serving on calls can seem a little bit spooky, but you can truly go about your day as long as you remain within your community, and just be prepared to respond to a call from a resident throughout your shift. These calls can really range from questions from a resident, lockout requests, and potentially larger scenarios, but do not worry, you are absolutely never alone. You'll always have another RA with you throughout your day, and there will literally be 3 levels of professional staff members above you to reach out to if you have any questions. And finally, the final step is implementing a residential community. And this is done through communication with your residents, community meetings, relationship building, and campus partnerships.
Alrighty, and next, what does it mean to be an RA? So what are some things can you look forward to if offered the RA position? You'll be making a difference in the lives of others. You have a stronger connection to the UCF community. A large portion of our RA training and our student staff training includes connecting our staff members to different resources and individuals both on campus and throughout the community to serve as a resource both for them personally and professionally, but also as a resource that they can use to share with other residents on their floor within their community. You'll also be making lifelong connections to your team and residents. It's not uncommon for individuals to make best friends on their staffs or have community floor chats that stay active years after they move out and move on to their next roles and everything, and people create close bonds to their RAs that can sometimes last a lifetime. And I think that that's really neat and not something you see in every single job. You also are to be creating a safe, supportive, and vibrant living learning environment. This is just ensuring that our on-campus facilities are in good working order, that everyone feels like they have a space in our on-campus housing in terms of being able to belong and finding resources and finding ways to contribute and be a part of our community. Also, serving as a role model within your community, you're often the first person that anyone goes to for help or questions. And it's not always just about housing. You serve in such an amazing role to be able to be a mentor from anywhere between 20 to 50 students on your floor at any time, much less how many students end up being in your community. So it's really great to be able to serve in such an elevated leadership role and be able to serve as such a standout role model and mentor to so many individuals at once, especially many who are first-time in college students who may not know a lot about the college layout and are looking to another peer for some help and guidance.
So why should you apply to be an RA? There are so many benefits that we are able to offer to our RAs that allow them to not only make a tangible impact on the community, but host that same development for themselves. So for example, as an RA, housing is included as a part of compensation, which is so nice. You do receive a biweekly pay, and you will develop skills that are applicable to any career field, which will lead to you having a very strong resume. Truly, like any field, my involvement in housing throughout my undergrad was a significant reason I was able to obtain an internship, and I did marketing. Literally had absolutely nothing to do with what I was doing, but the skills that I was able to develop really brought me forward as a candidate. So even if you really don't think that there's much crossover between your field, trust me that you will be perfectly primed for the professional world going forward. You will also have super strong personal and professional development. You have a ton of experience in leadership, helping others and especially your residents succeed, and supporting on-campus residents in times of need. Because, for a lot of these residents, some of them are first-time in college students, and this can be a very daunting experience. So really being able to be there for them is so important. That kind of leads me into mentoring experience. That truly cannot be understated. As an RA, you really get to build sincere connections with your residents, and the ability to guide them through this experience is easily one of the most rewarding aspects of this position. You also get to develop teamwork skills because you will be working alongside a team of other RAs with your community. And like Haley mentioned, you get to have a lot of fun times with them and just get to know them better as friends. And with that being said, the position is genuinely fun. I'll be so real. You will have a great time. Staff meetings can sometimes be a little bit silly, doing some team builders. You'll really get to connect with people even on duty. So I really cannot understate how much fun this job sincerely is.
All right, a lot of people have questions on the time commitment and involvement of being an RA, and that makes a lot of sense. You are definitely committed to your role, and it does take time. I think it's really important to acknowledge that the position also ebbs and flows. There's going to be times where you work a whole lot more, and then there are going to be times where you're not as busy. We say that you will work approximately 20 hours a week. This will include your duty staff shifts being 24/7, 365 days a year between your community your team on your community. And then working move in and move out, those are definitely going to be those weeks that are looking a little bit higher than 20 hours a week versus the weeks that are going to be quite a bit lower than 20 hours a week. You'll have your weekly staff meeting that usually lasts about 2 hours every week. And then you'll have one-on-ones with your supervisors. These look either bi-weekly, monthly, or weekly. And so right off the bat, you can guarantee that you're going to have a 2-hour weekly staff meeting, plus you'll usually do at least one weekday duty shift a week, and that's going to be the 4:45 to 8 p.m., so roughly about 3 hours. So you're looking a consistent 5.5 hours that you will be working in the RA role every single week, and then you add on top of that your RA duties in terms of having those roommate mediations, community events, community conversations with your residents on your floor. And then you also have mandatory attendance at your fall and summer training every year, and interacting with your residents, which of course should happen often. So that's kind of how those 20 hours are made up. As I mentioned, some of the things don't happen every single week, such as move in and move out. That only happens, twice a semester. Serving on duty, that weekend shift does not happen every single week. It depends on what community you're assigned to depend on how many weekend duty shifts you have. And then also the summer and fall training occur for 1 week in summer, and then 1 week at the beginning of summer and 1 week at the end of summer. So those are how those 20 hours are created. Time spent away from your community should not be greater than time spent within your community. The whole purpose of your job is to build your community and connect your residents together and to the UCF community as a whole. And then outside work must be approved by your supervisor before taking on that additional obligation, and it can only be up to 15 additional hours. It cannot be any more than 15 additional hours to ensure both that we're complying with UCF HR regulations if you have the position on campus, and then also ensuring that you're providing enough time to serve in your community and serve as a resource to residents who may need it.
Okay, now to get into our different housing communities. So as you can see, we have a ton of different communities, all ranging in size and capacity, and we do split them up between our academic year and annual agreements. So our academic year communities, as you can see, are kind of clustered towards that south end of our campus, and that includes Apollo, Libra, Hercules, and Nike, Lake Claire, and Neptune. We also have our annual communities on the north end with Towers, Northview on the main campus, as well as the Rosen College Apartments down over at our Rosen campus. So while these resident agreements range in duration, so the academic year ones are during the fall and spring semesters, and the annual during the whole year round, you are signed to a 1-year contract and are expected to work from that May to May. So when you receive your offer in February, it will include a summer preference survey. This survey will allow you to kind of indicate whether you want to work over the summer, which summer term you prefer, as well as which communities you'd like to work in. Please note these are only preferences and are not guaranteed. We do really need to ensure that our communities are fully staffed to support our residents. And we do our best to accommodate most preferences, but we do allow exemptions that are typically granted based on need first.
Alrighty, so now that you've heard a little bit about what the RA position is, what are some of the responsibilities, and what are things you can expect, we're going to go ahead and jump into the RA application process and what you can expect if you've been offered an interview for the RA position. So starting off, the RA position requirements, we do have a GPA requirement of a 2.5 overall cumulative GPA, and you must maintain this GPA for the duration of your employment with our department. For number of credits, we do require that you have 24 completed credits by the time you start the position. That does not mean you have to have 24 completed credits by the time you apply. So if you're applying for the 2025-2026 RA position, which starts in May, you wouldn't have to have 24 completed credit hours right now. You would just have to be enrolled in 24 credits by the time you hit May. 12 of those credits must be from UCF, but if you're bringing in any credits from dual enrollment or attending a community college, those count as the other 12 credits. Student conduct, you must maintain a clear student conduct record and currently be in good standing with the University Conduct Office. And then we also run a background check. This is necessary for hires, and you'll need a social security number and or a government ID. A question we get often is, do you hire international students? We absolutely do. We have quite a few international students who are on staff. You just have to have one extra step. You'll meet with Global first in order to get a social security number to move forward with the hiring process, or a social security number replacement in order to move forward in the hiring process. But we absolutely hire global and international students.
Okay, now how can you apply? I'm so glad you asked because our application is actually open right now. This application will close on October 1st, 2024, so make sure you get on that. You can visit the ucf.ereslife.com to apply. You'll just log in using your UCF NID and password. You are required to view this info session, so hi, so glad you've made it this far. You will be asked to answer a couple questions related to it, so I hope you've been locked in. As you continue through the application, you will be asked to provide 2 references. One we do prefer is from someone at UCF, but neither reference can be from a family member. Just keep that in mind. These references are due the day after the application closes on October 2nd. So make sure that they can only complete it once you have submitted the application. So make sure that once you submit it, you verify that your references have completed that, because they will not be able to do it until it is submitted. In regard to the application questions, there will be personality questions, 5 short answer questions, and job preferences. These personality questions are not to weed anyone out in particular. We generally just want to make sure that we have a very well-rounded and a super developed and diverse team, personality-wise, just to make sure that everyone can work together to achieve their goals in their own ways. And you aren't able to edit your application until you are finished and ready to submit, which is great. But again, keep in mind, it is due October 1st, and those references are due on October 2nd. And like I said, they cannot do the references until you have submitted the application. So just make sure you leave yourself enough time for that, but you do have the ability to go back and edit it.
All right, if you are one of the several individuals who's lucky enough to be invited to an interview, interviews will be conducted in person, both on the main campus and at the Rosen campus. You'll be invited to interviews no later than Wednesday, October 30th, 2024, and you have until November 3rd by 11:59, which is on a Sunday, to schedule your interview. So I always say and recommend, don't receive the invite to the interview and get so excited that you are screenshotting it, sending it to your family, to your besties, and you never click on the link to sign up, because then you've missed the deadline and we won't be able to offer you an interview at that point. So before you celebrate, before you get all excited, immediately click that link. Sign up for whatever interview time works best for you. It is first come, first serve. So if you wait and really take your time and really think about when you want to interview, those options may be gone by the time it's time to sign up. So just keep in mind, sign up for an interview immediately to get the best option. Interviews will be at Rosen campus on Tuesday, November 5th. They'll be on the main campus from Wednesday, November 6th to Saturday, November 9th. We will be, again, offering a Saturday interview this year. It worked really well last year. And interviews will be held between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. On the Saturday date, we usually cut off at 5 p.m. For our staff members to be able to have a little bit more of their Saturday back to them. But for the most part, on those other days, interviews are held between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m.
Okay, so once you have finished signing up for your interview, it is now time to prepare for the interview. And we do just have a couple of tricks to make sure that you do your absolute best. We do host several situational questions. Essentially, this will be kind of phrased as, tell us about a time when, So these are really important to display your leadership skills, your decision-making skills, and really show initiative and problem solving. So we recommend that you look like a star and answer this with the star response. So this begins with identifying the situation by offering some context, some background, and then following it up with the task, which really identifies that challenge that you face that really corresponds to that question. Following it up with action and using steps to explain exactly what you did to take care of that task. And then following it up with finally the result. So the benefits of your actions. So we can really show that you had a tangible impact with the steps you have taken.
All right. Any questions? We will be offering optional Q&A sessions, which will be live streamed to the Housing Facebook page and the Housing YouTube page. And then some will also be held in person. So here are the dates and locations for our upcoming Q&As. So hosted by the selection committee, we're also going to bring some current RAs to answer some of your questions from the perspective of someone currently in the role. We'll have our very first one on July 24th. This will be streamed live on Facebook and YouTube from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then September 3rd, again streamed live. This one will be from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. We'll hold one on September 12th. This will be in person from 5 to 6 p.m. in the Student Union. And then we'll have another one September 19th, streamed live from 6 to 7 p.m. And our very last one, right before the deadline, will be September 26th in person at the Student Union from 5 to 6. These, again, are optional, but I highly recommend going. You learn so much information. Even if you don't specifically have a lot of questions, the questions that others ask really clarify the role and help give a lot of context. So we highly recommend you attend at least one, if not a couple. If you have something very unique and specific to your needs or your circumstances, you can always email us at reslifeselection@ucf.edu. And the application can be found at ucf.ereslife.com. You'll click sign in with your school account and you'll use your regular UCF NID and password. We're so excited because the application is open right now and we hope that you consider applying, and we look forward to hopefully getting to review your application and interview you in the near future.
Finally, we will quickly go over the selection timeline for this year in 2 different ways. This selection process is primarily for our year-long contracted role from May 2025 to May 2026. However, a small number of candidates may be selected from this pool to start early and fill potential mid-year vacancies. If selected, these candidates will start their role in January 2025 and then begin a new year-long contract from May 2025 to May 2026. All candidates must be able to work the May to May contract regardless of whether they're interested in starting in January or not. On the screen, you will see 2 timelines. The first timeline covers the process for the few candidates who may be offered the opportunity to start early in January 2025. These candidates will go through the same application and interview process as everyone else. However, if selected, they will be notified no later than November 21st, 2024. They must accept the role on eResLife no later than November 25th, 2024, and be available to meet with our HR team between December 6th and December 13th, 2024. For our regular timeline, all candidates who completed an interview will receive an update on or before December 10th, 2024. This update will inform them whether they're still under consideration in our process. After this notification, candidates will not hear from the selection committee until an offer is sent, either for an RE position or a place in our alternate pool. Position and alternate offers will be sent no later than February 14th, 2025. So celebrate Valentine's Day, love yourself, and look out for that offer in your email. All candidates will have until February 20th, 2025 to accept or decline both the position and alternate offers as applicable. This will also be the time that when those offered an RA position will be sent the summer preference survey to indicate their interest in working during the summer and their preferred communities. Finally, those offered RA positions must meet with our HR team between March 28th and April 25th, 2025 to finalize paperwork, followed by mandatory student staff training from May 12th to May 16th, 2025. This next slide has most of the same information, but in a different visual format. Those who are offered an RA position starting in January 2025 will receive an offer letter on or before November 21st, 2024. They'll have until 11:59 p.m. on November 25th, 2024 to accept and must meet with our HR team by 5 p.m. on December 13th, 2024. All other candidates will be notified by December 10th, 2024 about whether they're moving forward in the RA selection process. Those in the candidate waiting area will receive an update on or before February 14th, 2025 with an offer for an RA position or a place in the RA alternate pool. If accepted, those in the alternate pool will remain in consideration from March 2025 to November 2025. Those offered an RA position on February 14th, 2025 have until 11:59 p.m. on February 20th, 2025 to accept the offer and must meet with our HR partners by April 25th, 2025. This will be followed by mandatory student staff training from May 12th to May 16th, 2025. Thank you.